This is huge, very big news. Multiple sources they have revealed that Saudi Arabia is now asking for something that any country in the Middle East will never ever dare. In fact, this is exactly what United States had been trying to do to stop this country from asking that what Saudi Arabia is about to get. So this is coming on the AP News, and they have basically said, quote, Trump's trip to Saudi Arabia raises the prospect of U.S. nuclear cooperation with the kingdom. Now, this is a nuclear cooperation for civil use purposes. However, there are some other news that confirms that this is not just about for the purpose of civilian use, those peaceful nuclear program, things like that. It is not just for that reason. Associated Press, they have said Saudi Arabia wants U.S. help developing its own civil nuclear program, and the Trump administration says it is, quote unquote, very excited at the prospect of Saudi U.S. cooperation in building reactors for nuclear power plants in the kingdom. So when we talk about building those nuclear power plants, what comes to our mind is, of course, Iran, because Iran is or has enriched those uranium to have those nuclear power be used for peaceful purposes, to produce nuclear power energy for the energy sector in Iran and for other reasons. And now we hear the same wording from Saudi Arabia, except that in the case of United States, they have agreed and, as Donald Trump said, very excited to be part of this cooperation between his country and Saudi Arabia. So this is the reason that was given by the expert why U.S. is excited to help Saudi Arabia in cooperation in building reactors. It is because of China. They believe by helping Saudi Arabia, the kingdom, U.S. could shut the Chinese and Russians out of what could be a high dollar partnership for the American nuclear industry. The worst news is not for China or for Russia. The worst news is actually for Israel, because once you have Saudi Arabia, another Arabian country with, of course, Israel, we don't consider them to be a country, but that's a different topic to discuss. But now we have another country in the Middle East who will have a nuclear capability, and if in the case where Saudi Arabia would want to exert its foreign policy in the region, from now on, especially once they start these nuclear reactors, countries will have to pay attention, especially Israel. The good old days of ignoring Saudi Arabia would not remain any longer. Israel will have to pay attention to what Saudi Arabia will say once they have nuclear power or nuclear even weapon. And according to many analysts, it is not coming from me. Many analysts, this is where it is heading, that Saudi Arabia will eventually get a nuclear weapon, because they fear that Iran already has it, and Saudi Arabia also right now, because of the frictions they have with Israel in regards to Gaza, that Israel doesn't really care about Saudi Arabia, their opinion, their policy. Saudi Arabia right now sees the time is high for them to achieve nuclear weapon. Of course, if MBS can cozy up to the future U.S. administration, they will not sanction Saudi Arabia for the nuclear weapon if they want to achieve, or if they want to have one, because of the Congress. They really, all they care at the end of the day, it's not human rights, it's not about nuclear proliferation, it is actually money that talks. And Donald Trump, after getting $5 billion, I believe, $500 billion worth of investment promise from Saudi Arabia, he is excited, and nobody cares about if Saudi Arabia gets a nuclear weapon or not. At least US, they don't care, and as long as US they don't care, Saudi Arabia will feel a lot more comfortable achieving or working towards getting a nuclear weapon. Again, as I said, Saudi Arabia right now is a very strategically very important country, because the situation we know in the Middle East is always evolving. We see war taking place, we see frictions, rhetoric coming from left and right, and you do not know what the future will hold. Every country these days, especially in the Middle East, they do fear that Israel could target them next, or that Israel could violate the sovereignty of some countries, especially in the neighborhood, just like they have violated the sovereignty of Syria, Lebanon. Therefore, Egypt, countries like Jordan, UAE, including Saudi Arabia, they, at the back of their mind, fear that it could actually happen with them too. Therefore, it is really the high time. The Gaza genocide has really paved the way for countries like Saudi Arabia and also UAE to rethink about going without nuclear weapon. Rather, they want to achieve one as soon as possible. Something going to be absolutely devastating for the state of Israel. They do not want another competitor in the Middle East when it comes to arms and technology and weaponries, because they believe in their head, even though they're getting help from US in billions and billions dollar worth of ammunition and fighter jet and you name it, they nevertheless believe that they are the sole superpower in the Middle East, and that no country should ever challenge that authority. If you're new to the channel, guys, consider subscribing for more commentaries. I will see you in the next video.